Hey guys, this is a very quick video because I'm working on 2 other videos already and I don't have time to work on a 3rd, and yet here I am. And I do apologize for the fans blowing. I'm going to try to reduce the noise in the background as much as possible. I wanted to make this video really quickly just to talk to you guys about the situation with the bunny fandom. Just briefly, this one little instance that I wanted to talk about. I was watching Hype Boy's latest video, and in the video, one of the first things that stuck out to me a lot was that he mentioned that there's a Korean YouTuber who's a pretty big YouTuber in the Korean YouTube space. Well, this YouTuber had put out a video recently. The video is entitled 3 Reasons Why I Quit New Jeans. He goes on and explains a very interesting point. He said that he was a big fan of New Jeans, but he said that recently he has stepped back from the fandom of New Jeans. Okay, so New Jeans is not the only problem. The fandom is a huge problem, and I don't want to understate that, but listen to what he says here. The first part of what he said, or at least the first reason, because remember the video is called 3 Reasons. But the first reason is the one that Hype Boy singled out, which I think is very important. He said, the manipulation of public opinion by some fans. I've seen this firsthand because I went on X and I saw so many things talking about how innocent the girls are, how cute they are, talking bad about Islet, talking bad even about La Seraphim, saying that people like me are being paid by Hype, focusing on everything and anything except what's true. In fact, I looked up even more so an interesting, I guess you could say this is a letter from Team Bunnies, and I screenshotted it and I wanted you guys to see this. Let me just show you guys how much they're trying to interfere with New Jeans' legal battle. For those of you who know this, you know this, but for those that don't, I'm gonna read this little thing to you and I'm gonna tell you more about what was said in Hype Boy's video. Now, I'm not going to go over everything that was said in the video, so if you want to watch the whole video in its entirety, I will put a link to his video in the description below. This is what the translation says. Google Translate's not as good with translation, but I'm going to do my best to kind of make this sound like it's supposed to, but this is going to be interesting to you guys. So it says, hello, this is Team Bunnies. After the results of the injunction were released on March 21st, Team Bunnies contacted the parents of the members and Sejong law firm. In the past few days, we met with 4 large law firms, including Sejong, 3 full-time lawyers, a current, I guess, numbering lawyer. That's probably a mistranslation. I think they're saying inexperienced lawyer, who has been a prosecutor for 17 years, and a lawyer who's been a judge, I think, for a long time or something like that. It says, in order to examine the current situation from an objective perspective, independent of the fandom as much as possible, we have sought advice from as many lawyers and law firms as possible, and we have organized the position, or I guess organized some kind of meeting or whatever. It says, I'm aware that many bunnies are confused right now. However, as mentioned above, as many lawyers as possible are discussing the current situation in depth. And Team Bunnies is also preparing a statement that sets out the main legal issues. We would like to inform you that we have already completed sufficient discussions in a difficult situation, and future plans are also ready. Thank you. Here's my thing. Why are the bunnies contacting the parents? Not just contacting, meeting with the parents of New Jeans and the law firm. Is this even something that's allowed? Can you do this? Again, all of this ties back to the YouTuber that said that these people are basically trying to manipulate public opinion to make New Jeans look better to the public, to make them look more like victims to the public. That's what this all is. It's just, this is media play, not only from New Jeans, not only from Minheejin, but the fans. Now, you can argue whether or not New Jeans or Minheejin manipulated the fans to do this. I don't know, probably, but you're crazy to get involved in legal matters like this. You have no business as a fandom meeting with the lawyers and the parents, and yet that's what they're doing. all to paint this picture to everybody that New Jeans and possibly even Minhee Jin are the victims in this whole issue. They just want them to look more favorable. And the thing that makes me really, really laugh and chuckle is this part where they said that they wanted to get these lawyers to give an objective perspective, independent from the fandom, who's already very biased. If you are trying to manipulate the court of public opinion, why would you seek quote unquote objective perspectives on this whole issue? I'm sorry. This is just wordplay. It really is. This is just wordplay. They're trying to make it seem like what they're doing is objective, which makes this fandom look even worse to me, because you know that what you're doing is not objective, but you dare to say that we want some outside opinions from other lawyers so that we can get an objective perspective apart from the fans, just to prove to you all that we're on the right side of this. We're gonna get lawyers to give an objective perspective, and then we, the fans, are gonna put out a statement, I guess basically highlighting everything, if I'm interpreting this correctly. Listen, this is not Omega X, where the fans stepped in and helped to get Omega X out of an abusive company with abusive people that were inappropriately touching and even hitting on the members of Omega X and making them do questionable sexual things, and then blackmailing them and saying, you know, this could be the end of your career if you don't comply with what I want. This is not that. They're trying to make it look like that's what this is, but this is not that. This is fans jumping ahead and inserting themselves in a narrative that is completely full of lies. Someone in the comments had brought up, and I can't remember who, they brought up that Honey went to the National Assembly and like, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but I'm not saying that Honey didn't suffer any kind of mistreatment at all. Here's my problem with that though. Not with the person, but just with the argument. The problem is that the fans filed a petition to the National Assembly for Honey to appear. Usually when an idol is suffering some kind of mistreatment of any kind, right? They file. So why didn't she file? No, she just told everybody what happened, quote unquote, and then the fandom said, oh, we gotta help her, we gotta protect her, we gotta do something about this. This is injustice, this is an injustice. No evidence, just her words. And they were like, okay, we're gonna file. They had no business filing for her. You could argue, oh, she was probably threatened, she was probably blackmailed into not saying anything. But if that's the argument that you're presenting, then wouldn't there be sufficient evidence to prove that there was that sort of thing going on? Well, they still haven't proven anything yet. So the argument falls very flat. Plus, they didn't even bring anything like that up. They didn't even say that anything like that, blackmailing and stuff, abuse of power like that, they didn't even bring that up. And to just say, oh, it's abuse of authority and abuse of power, and not tell us what that abuse of power is, and just leave it up to us to put together the pieces, that's not how this works. You've got to do better than that. You've got to tell us what kind of abuse of power it was, instead of just leaving it as an open-ended abuse of power claim. Now you have to create an argument around why the fans filed a petition and not Honey, the one who claimed that she was mistreated. So there's that too. They interfered there, and they're interfering now by meeting with New Jean's parents and the law firms. This should not even be allowed, but apparently it is. I think that's weird. I think that's weird. I think this is media play and PR of the highest caliber, because if the fans are doing this, and listen, you could say, well, haven't you heard of fans investigating on behalf of the idol? Yes, I have, because they did it for Woojin. They investigated, and they did it for other idols too, who were wrongfully accused. But this isn't that. This is something else. This is them trying to cover up the behavior of New Jeans. This is literally them trying to paint a narrative. This guy, who was a bunny in the bunny fandom, said he stepped away, and he's Korean. He stepped away because of this, because of them trying too hard to make it seem like New Jeans are good people or innocent people. Trying too hard to make Minhee Jin look good, to the point of being intellectually dishonest. So much so being intellectually dishonest, that the objectivity of the matter at hand is lost. What is objective to them is that Nugent and Minheejin are fine. They're innocent. They're being wrongfully mistreated. That's the objective truth for them. So the lawyers that they've contacted to get an objective perspective are going to say everything that they're saying. So I'm going to quickly read the quote from Highboy. It's actually Highboy quoting the YouTuber who was a bunny who left the bunny fandom. So I'm going to read to you this quote. And again, if you want to see the full video of Highboy covering this whole topic, I will put a link to his video in the description box below so you can check it out. But here's basically what the guy said. Quote, if you go on a site called BC Inside, there is a Nugent's gallery. I saw firsthand how people there would post links and articles or YouTube videos that contained even the slightest criticism of Nugent's, asking others to go leave supportive comments. In their words, some fans were organizing mass comment campaigns to sway public perception, something they call coordinated attacks. In these coordinated comment sections, there were tons of replies accusing others of, get this, being paid by Hybe, calling them, quote unquote, part-time workers. There were also tons of comments cheering on Nugent's or bashing Hybe. Some fans even suggested that they proactively leave positive comments on YouTube or articles for Nugent's. But for some reason, many of those posts have since been deleted. Still, you can find plenty of traces of those coordinated comments and campaigns all over the place, end quote. Basically all over the place, meaning all over the interwebs. But let me just wrap this up. So just so y'all know, this is the quote from the YouTuber who used to be a bunny, okay? This is what he said. This is one of the reasons why he left the bunny fandom. And it's not just on DC Inside. It's everywhere, mainly on DC Inside, but also on X. Go to the X Team Bunnies page or account or whatever. You will see all kinds of stuff, all kinds of reels, videos, posts supporting Nugent, saying nothing but good things, but then bashing everybody else. So yeah, now don't go send them hate or anything, okay? Just go and observe, all right? And the whole being paid by Hybe thing, we literally talked about this. They have been spearheading that whole we've been paid by Hybe narrative because Nugent's brought it up. And they just run with everything Nugent says. And that's why I say that it sounds to me like Nugent has manipulated their bunnies. Like they're saying the same thing Nugent has been saying. And it's all in an attempt, and a vain attempt at that, to sway the public to their side. Yeah. So I don't know, and I've never been a bunny, but this guy was clearly, and he said he stepped away. And one of the main reasons was the manipulation of people's right to think critically, trying to make people probably even look stupid, which is what a lot of bunnies, toxic little bunnies, tend to do. So it's just like confirmation after confirmation now from this YouTuber who was a bunny, who loved Nugent's, but can no longer support Nugent's because of the fandom that is toxic. And now they're seeing little by little, bit by bit, the truth of how this fandom really acts and operates. But I just wanted to make this video just to show you guys what's going on. And like I said, I know you guys probably have seen this before, this letter. It's probably been talked about, but I wanted to talk about this as well. And do you really think that the fans are being objective or trying to get lawyers to give an objective perspective on something that they've already determined is mistreatment? So yeah, let me know how you feel about this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from your boy. And until next time, it'll be your boy Antonio signing out. Peace. Love you guys. Bye.